Turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. Turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. Turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf.
Welcome. What's good with the God family? It's your boy, man, Canadians, man. I want to welcome you to a journey, not a destination, where we talk about the destination in totality. Growth is motion. So if you're not moving, you're not grooving. Well, depends on the groove, as always, right? Uh, Today has been a interesting day. Um, an eye opener day. A lot of good energy, a lot of good vibes, a lot of good people. You know what I'm saying? We're doing our thing. I love it. Keish is with me. You feel me? Big Keish, not the little. You feel me? How you doing today, Keish?
I'm doing good, actually. Doing good.
Okay, I like good. Good is but one day we're gonna get great. But I'll take good.
One day, yeah.
One day at a time. It's seven of them. It's seven at a time. Uh,
Right.
you feel me? And one day at a time at the same time. Like I said, man, as you know, guys, we always do a mental and emotional checkup. So, Keish, from a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say your emotional capacity is today?
Emotional capacity. I think it's I think it's about an 8. I'll give it an 8 today.
Okay. Yeah, emotionally, for me, I'm at 10.
Oh,
I'm at 10.
10.
I got 10.
10. What makes
I
it a
got
10 today? We got to explore this now.
just good vibes, good energy. Got a lot done. I mean, we worked out this morning. We meditated. You know what I mean? We got some edits in. You know what I'm saying? We worked on a few things. Uh, just very productive day. And got some people in town. You feel me? We child vibing, chilling. You know what I'm saying? And just having good energy across the board. You know what I'm saying? It's been a good day for sure. For
Oh,
sure.
that's good.
Emotionally. Mentally, from a scale of 1 to 10, Keish, what would you say your capacity is today? From a scale of 1 to 10.
Today, I'm feeling really ambitious. So definitely a 10.
Mm.
Yeah.
My ambitions as a rider. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got some thoughts going on that I want to
Come on, it's time to
put
eat.
into put into this realm.
Yeah, that's good food. That's good food, man. Nah, for me, mentally, you know what I'm saying? We had a nine. We had a nine. We had a nine for
That's
sure.
good.
Mentally, for sure. Definitely getting a lot of things done. Just trying to stay consistent. I'm excited for what's to come for sure. For sure. Everything's coming the way that I want it to go. Everything's going the way I would like for it to go. There are some hiccups, but we preparing for the hiccups. We used to not be able to, but now we able to. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta be grateful and blessed for that. Um, but yeah, guys, look, check this out. Today's episode is about the power of vulnerability. I said that right, right?
Yes.
Vulnerability. How to allow yourself to be vulnerable, create deeper connection, healing, and transformation. Embracing vulnerability as a pathway to growth. If you're here to this day, right, as you know, in this show, we like to say it's not about doing more work or less work. It's about doing deeper work. I stress all the time about doing the deeper work, that deep shit. You know what I'm saying? And to even access some of that, vulnerability is required for sure. You know what I'm saying? The deeper you can be honest with yourself, the more vulnerable you're able to be with yourself, the more closer you can get to some answers, and some truths you may like or may not like. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the culprit. I want to welcome everybody back to a Journey Our Destination. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, good day, good evening. Am I missing one, Keish? Oh, perfect, right?
That's all we got.
Well, again, I want to welcome everybody to Journey Our Destination, right? The space where we stop pretending we are having everything figured out and start telling the truth about what it actually takes to become who you're choosing to become. I want to welcome you back to a Journey Our Destination, right? The space where we stop pretending we have everything figured out and start telling the truth about what actually takes to become who we truly want to be, or what God says is so. You know what I'm saying? Today we're talking about something that sounds powerful but feels uncomfortable in real life, and that's vulnerability. We'll definitely get into the definition of that so we can understand what we're asking for here, right? It'll be a tough one, guys. Because vulnerability looks good when it's packaged, when it's already healed, when it's turned into a lesson, a caption, or a testimony. But in real time, vulnerability feels like uncertainty. It feels like exposure. It feels like standing in your truth without knowing how it will be received. It's the moment you say that you've been holding in, and you don't know if it's you don't know if it's going to bring you closer to someone or push them away. If we're honest, a lot of us didn't grow up learning that vulnerability was safe. Hell no. We learned to be strong because we had to, right? To hold on, to hold it in, to figure it out on our own. We learned that showing emotion could be used against us. So we built walls, we mastered composure, and we became experts at saying, I'm good, even when we were not or weren't. Whichever one you prefer. The truth is, everything we actually want in life, connection, healing, love, understanding, it lives on the other side of vulnerability. So, look, guys, today, vulnerability is going to be the main subject. As an idea, we're sitting in it, right? I want you to give some of these questions some thought and figure out where you can find these things out in your life, right? We're unpacking the moments that break us open, the times we left exposed, misunderstood, or even rejected, and those same moments have been the beginning of our growth because maybe, just maybe, vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's the doorway. It's the doorway. Is vulnerability the doorway? Or in your journey right now, right? Because we can only speak for ourselves and our opinions,
Right.
right? Just opinions. We're gonna put disclaimers in the beginning. But is vulnerability how has excuse me has vulnerability been a doorway for you in your journey right now?
So before I answer that question, let's give the definition of what vulnerability is.
Come
Is
on. See, this is why we have big keys, right? So if we're
so
gonna
it's
bring this up.
Yes, it open to being attacked, harmed, or damaged is Merriam's definition. Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of it. So to
Uh,
be vulnerable, you have to be open to that. And vulnerability is just a quality of being vulnerable. So during this journey, I have being on the podcast has made me vulnerable. I have opened up to being attacked, harmed, or damaged because
yeah.
with us giving our opinion and telling our stories, we're going to get questions. People
Right.
are going to question things, people are going to try and attack you on things and try to harm you. So just doing this alone, you're being vulnerable. Is it
Mm-hmm.
a doorway? I mean, for some might be a stairway to heaven,
right.
or for others it might be a stairway to hell.
Mm.
So it's being able to recognize who you're being vulnerable with. Are you able to mentally, emotionally be able to be in that state of mind? Because you're gonna get a lot different things. Are you
Mm.
gonna be able to protect your peace in that state? So for me, this has been a doorway. This
Mm.
has opened up different ideas for me.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable and just being okay with, like, well, people are going to have opinion because they always have before, and they're still going to have opinions now. So
It's
let me
true.
do what I want to do, and you still talk about me. So let it be.
Talk about it. Talk about it. No, I agree 100%. So we would say that vulnerabilities are necessary evil, for growth up and down. As you guys know, I got about 8 questions today. I don't know if we'll get through all of them, but I'll leave the questions up on the description. And if we don't get through all of them, those are some ones you can ask yourself or ask one of your significant others, whatever the case may be. Blah, blah, blah. We'll see how it goes. That was a great soliloquy, Keish, on vulnerability. I do feel like the definition of vulnerability and then the experience of it has been a little different for me. I've actually been saved a lot more from being vulnerable than not.
Mhm.
So, but I don't know if opening up, I mean, I guess, attack and harm and damage, right? When you think about that, are we putting ourselves in harm's way? And where are we doing that? You know what I'm saying? What does that look like for us? And then when you can answer that question, then we can figure out, okay, that's why I'm vulnerable, right? With that, right? Our first question for the day is, what is your early memory of learning that vulnerability could either protect you or expose you?
Earliest memory? Ugh.
Earliest memory
I
of.
guess it depends on what you're as far as being exposed. I think vulnerability or being vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
that comes at an early age, because when you're young, you depend on your parents,
Yeah.
and so your safety lies with them, and
Mm-hmm.
you're automatically think that they're going to keep you safe,
Yeah.
regardless, even when you just come out and they're carrying you from the car to the house, you're asleep, but like mom or dad is not going to drop you, like they're not going to drop you, so you're
Right.
vulnerable even in that state. But as far as my earliest memory, I think I would have to say when I was younger and just being truthful ish as I could be.
As you could be. So
As
that
I
was.
could be.
Okay.
Because when you little, your kids lie. We
Yeah, we
don't tell
did.
little white
Yeah.
lies.
Yeah.
We
All
don't
type
tell
of lies.
the complete truth, but you give the gist of the truth where like, okay, I was kind of in the wrong just a little bit, but most of it I was in the right. That's the part you're going to give away.
Yeah.
So even just being able to go to like my mom or dad and be like, hey, I didn't do great on my math test today. You know, I think that probably was the earliest memory. Yeah, when I went to my mom, she was like, "You got a C in algebra? Was it algebra? No, it's geometry." And I was like, "Yeah, that teacher is terrible." I mean, it was a terrible teacher, but I had to go to her and tell her that because she's so used to me getting A's and B's that a C was like incomprehensible for her. But being able to let her know, like, hey, yeah, I got a C. And I was like, don't worry, I'll get it back. I just have to work a little bit harder. And she trusted me to do that.
Mm.
So I think that's a part of being vulnerable is that you want to go to someone or be open with someone so much that they still going to trust you to make the right decisions. And even
Right.
if you made a wrong decision, they're not going to use that against you later on,
Mm.
because sometimes people are like that, are evil, and they will y- fuel that for the next argument or something. So,
Right. Misery loves company.
right. And they will bring all that to the light. So, yeah, I think that's earliest memory of being vulnerable is just letting my mom know the
Earliest.
truth.
Do you think that experience made you more open or more guarded over time?
Honestly, I think I became more guarded over time.
Over time.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
think
think
I
there's a way to
became
reverse that?
yes. I think there is a way to be less guarded,
Mm-hmm.
but that comes with, unfortunately for me, that came with being vulnerable and being attacked and
Mm.
being harmed and misused. So for me, like, that's when I became more vulnerable in that sense. I closed off a lot more. So a lot
Mm.
of people, they'll say, like, you could say you know me, but really don't know me. I'm
Right.
only going to allow you to know what I want you to know.
Right.
Um, so that made me more closed guarded. And a lot of people were like, Keisha, she's quiet, she's to herself, she doesn't, bother anyone. And I think that made it more so later in life for me. And then like now, I'm kind of opening up back to being exposed. But
Mm.
it's like this time when I'm doing it this time around, starting over, I'm
Right.
not starting from the beginning, I'm starting from experience. So now I know
Right.
like to set those boundaries or see the red flags like we've talked about before, and actually, being able to discern. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Being able to discern and know what information to hold and what to give away. Um,
Mm.
but it does help you to open up to being vulnerable again. but a smarter version.
You would say like those are like some of the lessons that help you in your vulnerability
Right.
now, current during
Right.
your journey. Got you.
Right.
That makes sense. It's weird because for me, my earliest moments of learning that vulnerability can either protect me or expose me. I grew up in a house where like Rankin and or Joan and whatever y'all call it, we call it Rankin back in the day. Where you get talked about days, sometimes weeks, depending on the joke. It can get extended like
Oh, yeah.
a like a combo, like 45 hit combo. This is a whole month of just sauce. But I grew up in a house where you had to be able to carry on. You had to be able to live in a vulnerability spot and immediately transfer from it and use it as a weapon to either be funny or some inspirational shit. You know what I'm saying? The earliest for me would be when I was young. Definitely when I was a kid. I have a few actually, but because I love my peoples, I'm gonna try to say this in the most respectfulest way I can say it. But I'm trying to find something else. My earliest moments of figuring out vulnerability could either protect me or expose me would be when I had to my first fight. Honestly, my first fight. That was like the first time I realized, like, okay, being vulnerable here, you will lose every time. Every time. And, that's not a space you should ever be vulnerable in. And then the fighting started physical, right? The fighting started on a physical standpoint, growing up, fighting, people knocking on the door, want to fight. Then the fight elevated to a uh, competitive fight. Now I'm fighting for spots on the team, positions, it's high school, right? And then you graduate from high school and now it's life fights. You know what I'm saying? Trying to find a job fight, trying to figure out what career you want to do fights. And you have all these different vulnerabilities from that feeling like you don't ever want to feel like that person who got into that fight when you was young and that shit hurt. Nigga punch you for real, shit hurt. You change your whole life. You punch one time when you're young, you change everything. But they don't do that anymore. But where we from, like a necessity. You had to know how to throw them bows for sure. Now, was it healthy? No. Did it help with my vulnerability early? Hell no. Because I just felt like anytime something went wrong, we always had to fight. We always had to until I got older and learned how to really use my words and deal with people and understand those different things. And but learning that so early, that did affect me. It did affect my experience of vulnerability, but it only affect mine. I'm not the type to judge people or come in with expectations with others. You know what I'm saying? I kind of make sure that, hey, um, I shouldn't expect anything other than what I can control. Now it's not always easy, especially, women involved, sex, a bunch of different other things involved. You create a lot of different vulnerabilities that can make it dangerous. But for me, it made me more open, from those things because I'm like, okay, now I'm in a position where I can see the hostility, I can see the signs of a nigga wanting to be aggressive for no reason. Why?
Discernment.
You know what I'm saying? And you catch it from afar. That's why I don't go to clubs no more. I go to lounges that they even in trouble. I'm a little nervous about bars sometimes, but you go to a nice one, you might find something crazy. That's fine. But for me, those are like the earliest times of like my vulnerability show me like, okay, there's places emotionally you could be vulnerable, but like physically, health is wealth. You know what I'm saying? And, I just learned on the fighting side first. I learned about health and all this other stuff later. But me, it started from my first fight. I think I told the story over here about my mom slapping me and sending me back out there. Told me if I lost, I'll get a whooping. Classic shit. You know what I'm
That is
saying?
classic.
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 And for some reason, losing, that ass whooping was way more important than losing.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
But yeah, man, like I said, I don't know. As far as me with early vulnerability, there's so many, but I feel like that's the one that really set me up to be competitive, to be witty, to like be on my toes, to do faster, think faster, be faster, have a better understanding of how to turn my vulnerabilities into weapons for me, even if they hurt, even if I disagree with them. Like, it is what it is. I got to accept choice I made in those vulnerabilities. You feel me? But I digress. Our second question for the day is: when was the last time you allowed someone to see the unfiltered version of you? Anything like that's going to
Ella,
be a relationship for me.
oh, right, right. Ella May say, I need
I'll be giving it
somebody.
up, boy. All the
Yeah, you
time.
need.
It's emotional.
For me, I would have to say during my marriage. That was probably the last time I don't know. I can't even say I was completely vulnerable, like unfiltered, because there was things like I would hold back on or I wouldn't expose myself
Mm.
to just based on the circumstances that was happening. Like
Huh.
I knew I couldn't be completely genuine at heart. I'm not genuine at heart, but just being
Damn.
me, 100% genuinely me at heart with certain things because I knew
Okay.
like it would be weaponized against me later.
So the fear of your unfilteredness being weaponized stopped you from being.
Being unfiltered, yes.
Mm. Has there ever been a relationship that you had where you were unfiltered, where you felt like you can truly be yourself?
I don't think as far as like with a partner, but I feel unfiltered around my kids.
Okay.
Like
No,
I
that's
am
important.
they're
That's
like, Mom,
important.
you just randomly singing stuff? Or I always have a song to go with a word. They're like, here she goes, she's about to sing this song. I don't even know what it is. Or like
Mm.
I'll do play out scenes and or we'll just do, our British accent or whatever. Like
Yeah.
just really quirky around here. So like when like the kids' friends would come over
Yeah.
and I feel like they feel like it's okay for them to be vulnerable too because it's been times where like their friends would be doing some crazy weird funny stuff and I'll walk
Uh
in and look and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm never coming back over your house again." I'm like, "Well, why didn't you let them know that that's probably normal? Like I now see you as being normal. Your
right.
weird quirky stuff is normal for this
Right.
household." Because I feel like once you can do all that, you feel safe, and so you
Mm.
feel safe to be who you really genuinely are without being judged. Or if we're gonna judge you, it ain't judgment, but we might have a roasting session
Yeah.
about it.
For sure.
And
I
then
definitely might give a few jokes for sure. For
right.
sure.
And then hey, at the end of it all, we still love. That's what it comes down to. But then we can sit back and be like, hey, you remember that time we was in the kitchen and mom just started roasting you about whatever.
Yeah.
So but it's all done in love. And I think with the relationships with my kids, I can be 100% me and they not
Mm.
judge me for it because they see me as more than just this person. Like they see me for me and they
Yeah.
know like this is mom and it
Right.
she this is her being her. So but as far as
Mm.
like a partner being able to see that, no, I'm working on it. It's a journey, not a destination.
Mm.
No.
Talk to him. uh, the last time I allowed someone to see me unfiltered version of me, that has probably been relationship wise. It's probably been about 7 years. But personally, all of my closest people, like my close confidants who I communicate with, like it's truly an unfiltered conversation. You would be amazed at the conversations that I have with my friends, with the people I love, and the space that we give each other, the judge free zone that gets created, cultivation. I would say for my friends, it's pretty much a daily thing. I be going, my life is a movie for sure. I can't lie. But sometimes you need to cross analyze. Sometimes you need to process certain things. Make sure things are, make sure you're out of line. Outside of trusting yourself and God. Sometimes you got to talk to your people because they're gonna give it to you. Make sure you talk to the people that's gonna give you the real. Don't call the people that's
Right.
going to glorify your choice if it's
Right.
wrong. All right, I need the people that's right or wrong. They may laugh, giggle, talk jokes, but they're gonna say, "Hey, it's wrong," but I fuck with you, so let's go. It's your life, nigga. Uh, unfiltered. Girl did ask me one day. She said, "Cameron, have you ever been in love?" I think I really liked somebody. Like I really, 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 really liked her, and I probably really loved her for sure. But in love, I don't think I've ever had a situation where I'm like, okay, I can't live without this girl. I think I want to spend the rest of my life with her. I never had that experience. And, maybe that could be somebody to unlearn and relearn and it don't work that way. That's kind of the feeling I'm looking for, right? Well, that's kind of the feeling that I was taught to look for or grow up to. For that unfiltered version of me to be able to give it. I just haven't. I don't think I found it yet. We out there working. We taking shots. You miss 99% of the shots you don't take. When I had a time that I was in a unfiltered version of myself with somebody that I could be that, right? What emotions came up in that moment, right? What good emotions, right? That was like, damn, this shit feel like I know her forever. I feel like I know her for years. And it could be a week. You know what I mean? But the juices be flowing. You know what I'm saying? The juices be real. But I would say it feels that came up, right? It felt effortless, right? It felt comfortable. It felt like I didn't have to conform. You know what I'm saying? It felt like we could really be our true selves early. We ain't had to wait 6, 8 months. Like we kind of can be ourselves on this deep level now.
Right.
Now I've only experienced those are rare, right? Those are rare breeds. Shout out to the rare breeds, but I probably only experienced it a few times fast, like months, weeks at a time. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, this shit is we're probably moving too fast, but it feel like I've known this person for years. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But I was able to give them an unfiltered version of me, so to speak, right? Or an idea or a potential version of me in the future. We all fall in love with the potential in the beginning. It's after that 6 month and a day where you get the representative falls away, and now you get to see the true person. It's my theory. I haven't proved it yet, but that's my theory. But that was the last time I had an unfiltered version. That's still some of the feelings that I had when I did have one. But I don't think it was necessarily a relationship for me. It was just, I have a lot of different relationships with women. So sometimes it was just a time was had, good energy, good vibe, great conversation amongst other festivities. Just depends. You kind of got to create that shit, really. Not everybody's, gonna be granted the ability for you to have an unfiltered version, but there will be environments for you to have that. You got to pick wisely because sometimes that unfiltered version could be used against you if you're too
Right.
quirky, weird, or if they deem you quirky or weird. They deem you as I'm unsure, you're different. Instead of just allow you to be yourself, whatever that may be. All those things take time. So just be careful when you trying to be an unfiltered version. You know what I'm saying? Our next question for the day is what roles has vulnerability played in your ability to overcome challenges? For me, it would have to be being vulnerable enough to like realize I didn't have all this shit together at all. I just had to keep going. Even if I don't understand, I don't know what's going on, I don't know where this is going to take me, right? I gotta keep going, right? So my question is, was there a moment where opening up actually helped you heal? Yeah, I would say for me, with being able to keep going and doing these things and showing myself that I'm not only capable, but I have the will and I have the strategic and I have the knowledge and the intelligence to get these things done, help me with a lot of stereotypes that I grew up in, or, and a lot of things that I thought I was doing wrong that I was actually doing right. And then things I thought I was doing right that I was doing horribly wrong, But vulnerability opened them doors for me because now I was able to not have an ego when it came to dealing with myself. Not being so prideful and being able to accept that certain things, in my life due to whatever the case may be. But I do think that learning the ability to overcome challenges with vulnerability is super important because there were times when I had issues with somebody and honestly the best weapon was silence. The best weapon was stepping away or being vulnerable enough to be like, let them say what they want to say. You can be the coward, you can be the sucker, the punk, the soft nigga, all the shit. You can be all that, but just being vulnerable enough to be like, you right, but you not. You know what I mean? You gotta hold it in. You gotta be the bigger person. And I think overcoming those challenges always show me that hey, there's always a better way to do something, right? So now I start doing those things for myself instead of others. Because I used to be a people pleaser, growing up, having a big family, being the epitome of a middle child. So I'm constantly fighting for everything: love, competition, food, you name it. We fight for it all. But I got out of that eventually. But that's one of the roles that vulnerability played in me for me to be able to overcome certain challenges in life. How about you, Keish?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would definitely have to say like being in my line of work, You have to be vulnerable, man. Because before this, or before I got back into the OR in 2023, I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't been in the OR for 10 years.
10?
So when 10 years, I got out of the Navy in November 2013. I didn't step back into an OR until September of 2023. So 10
Mm.
years. And so I had to go in like trying to remember everything. And then, stuff has changed in the last 10 years, but being vulnerable enough to expose my weaknesses and like, hey, I don't remember all of this, I don't, you got to treat me like a new student right now. But once I get it, like, oh, now it's coming back to me. Oh man, then I'm unstoppable. Then I gotta be vulnerable again and show you what I really can do. So it's
Right.
like you always, and like I said, in my line of work, I always gotta be vulnerable. When they put me in cases I have no idea about, I'm like, I've never done this case before,
Right.
and I will sit there and you can look up the case on online, but it all depends on which surgeon you are working with because none of them is following the guidelines that you just looked at. I can guarantee it. So you have to be, so I'm vulnerable enough to go in there knowing I don't know how to do this case, but hey, we're going to get through it. We're going to make this work. That's our motto, like on our shift, because we're mid shift. Like, we're going to make it work.
Right.
Because they always want to do something crazy that they never do on the day shift, on the
Mm-hmm.
mid shift.
It's always
So
that.
like, yeah, I never did this. We have never seen this before. But so just going in there with the confidence or yeah, the deep down confidence that I'm gonna make this work regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get like for me, once I get in there and I'm in there and I know what's going on now, oh, I'm unstoppable. There's nothing you can do to stop me. And so
EA
my
Sports winning the game.
vulnerability. Right. So being vulnerable in those moments helped
Mm-hmm.
me to overcome a lot of challenging surgical cases that I wouldn't have done otherwise. So I think just even working the mid shift, I knew that I was going to be exposed to cases in different departments that I had normally not been in. So, but that helps me to be a better, well-rounded, tech.
Mm.
So, and I learned a
No, that's
lot more
beautiful.
that way.
Do you think the 10 years help or hurt you during this process with getting back into it? You
I
need
think
a break?
it was like a pause. It was like a pause for me. It wasn't even like I don't think it helped in a sense as far as like advancing my skills or being exposed to all these cases.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, it probably did help with dealing with a lot of things, you know, and then having the experience of doing different things. Looking at I had did admin side of work, and then I got into the trucking business. So then logistics wise, it started the whole OR now makes sense to me,
Mm.
so I think that's it kind of helped in that way. Um, but I don't think it hindered me from doing my job. I think, like I said, I think it was just a pause for me.
Right. I mean, anybody to take a 10-year break, right, can go back into it and do it like you still love it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
to make it look like you love this from day one. I think that's 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 fire. Um, and that takes some sure will for sure. You know what I'm saying? The
Right, and being
mastery is
right, be
crazy.
vulnerable. Like, okay, I gotta tell him I ain't been in a war in a long time.
I did a little time. Let
But
me get a few hookups.
luckily, like where I went in North Carolina was a level 1 trauma. So then you exposed to everything. It was a adult and pediatric level 1 trauma, and I worked on the neuro spine team, which is
Mm,
there. It's one of the most complicated departments to work in, and people don't like working in that department. So it was exposing me to a lot of things, a lot of cases that, like I said, I would never have done.
mm,
But at the same time, like you had all these different type of cases that were very, very, how do I say, like tear jerking cases.
yeah.
Like had I not been a tech in that case right then and there scrubbing in, I would have been on the sideline crying. bawling my eyes out because you see
Mm.
like you see those things. So in this line of work, you also got to be vulnerable to what may come through that door and know that you're trying to save this person's life or this child's life, and that can take a toll.
Mm. I agree. Heavy hearts in there. But I would say that did help you into with learning that and getting that knowledge. Would you say that helped with the job that you're doing now to where you're more, it's not really a big deal to handle these certain things because it's of the knowledge that you possess from these diversity of cases?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Um, it helps to know like, okay, now I know more things that, how to handle certain situations. So if we
Mm.
got a bleeder in the case, hey, I know I'm gonna need my flow seal, I know I'm gonna need some Surgisil, I'm gonna need some snow. All these terms I know you have no idea what I'm talking about.
None.
But
But it's all right, go
but
ahead, go ahead.
but I know I'm like, I know what I need. So if I
Yeah,
see, okay, we got to control this bleeding. That's the first thing. Even
yeah,
when CPR, which you do know, CPR, the first thing you do,
yeah.
control the bleeding. There's no point in doing anything else if you can't control the bleeding.
Hmm.
So now I know, like, okay, I know the different products that we can use to help control the bleeding. I can get, be like, hey, give me this. Make sure this is in the room,
Right.
if he needs it or if he asks for it. So, or he or she. Um, so it does help you in those situations
Yeah,
to be more calm under pressure, being
yeah.
exposed to that. But I think that came even in the military because, they will always say, you need to stay calm for your patient. Because if
Hmm.
you're freaking out, your patient's definitely freaking out and they're the one that's injured. Then you can
Yeah.
send them into a whole shock. So it's like you
Hmm.
got to remain calm under pressure. So I think it helped me navigate a little bit easier under pressure, especially when things happen in different cases. So that does help.
I do think breathing techniques as well should be some, you anybody should invest in. Um, for all type of stressful situations. Yeah, because them are some stressful situations. You got to
Right.
be able to.
I'm not
Whoo.
breathing in those situations. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, none of that going on
I'm
for
in there
sure.
holding my breath, like, oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? You just got to react.
Right.
You just got to know what you know and get to it. Uh,
Right.
it has to be a tough thing, but no, that's fire though. That's fire, Keish. Our next question for the day is: do you think people truly want honesty, or just a version that's easier to digest? Ladies first. Ladies first. I'm gonna let you take the floor for this one.
Certain people, and I say this as in spiritually mature people want honesty. Those that are not spiritually matured just want the best version that you're going to give them. So I say that because for me at least, because of course this is all personal opinion, um, when you are honest with me, completely honest with me, I know you are completely honest with yourself. I know you
mm,
love yourself because you're so honest with me that you don't care. Not that you don't care, but you are okay with giving me that unfiltered version of you and in hopes that I accept it. So, yes, those who are spiritually mature, who say that they want honesty and they want you to be 100% yourself and authentic, yes, they want that. Those who don't are the ones who are not ready for that. Because now, if you're 100% honest and they're not, you're
mm-hmm,
exposing them now. Now they're looking like, I'm not ready for this. I don't need this version. I need you to
mm.
give me, yes, you're right version instead of giving me, no, girl, you did wrong for what you did version. And if I wasn't your friend, I'll put hands on you or something like that. You got to be
No, for
honest
sure.
in
No,
this.
for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. Let me ask you this, right? Have you ever felt like your truth was too much for someone?
Yes. Sometimes I feel it all the
Have you ever
time.
not told somebody the truth because simply You cared about not hurting their feelings.
Yes, I have. Yes, about not hurting their feelings. And sometimes they're not ready for that truth. Sometimes they're not ready for the honesty too. So sometimes you do have to wait for that person to mature to that level that you need them to be at so they can accept it.
Uh,
Because if not, you give them that, they're gonna feel like they're being attacked.
mm,
It feels like an
mm.
attack for you being truthful and honest.
Okay. Um, True, but that does have to go both ways, right? I've definitely been on both sides. I've been the person who lied because they want to hurt somebody's feelings. Then I've been on the other side where somebody lied to me. They didn't want to hurt my feelings.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I mean, what is honesty? Like, what kind of honesty you want? Like, people say they want honesty. Like, you know, I be lying. Let me shut up.
No, no, this is a vulnerability topic. You need to be
uh,
vulnerable at this point. This is the whole point of this topic.
okay, I I have a problem, right? My problem is you could be showing me that the energy is the opposite, right? But I want you to tell me. So I'll call you or I'll continue to entertain you until you tell me, though the actions are showing otherwise. Now I'm only speaking in relationship purposes, of course, right? Um and that's not just like relationship like with like friends, all different shit. It just depends. A lot of people run from the honesty conversations when it's time to have them, and when we do have honesty conversations, it's normally the side where it don't affect you. I'm the only time they want to have them. But when it's time
Right.
for the honesty conversations, but it's go you gonna feel something? Yeah, I'll call you back. Um,
Right.
I'm gonna call you back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think
Sometimes you
that
need to do that though. But
yeah, yeah, but a lot of people don't. Sometimes we react. For me, I do know that when I did have those feelings, right now, I was like, I didn't want to hurt her feelings. It wasn't the fact that I didn't want to hurt her feelings, right? Like, it's crazy to say now, all right? It's just not who I am today. I just want to say it out loud. Not want to hurt somebody's feelings who I know I already destroyed their feelings once they find out is diabolical.
wait, to not
Diabolical.
want to hurt somebody's feelings who you've already destroyed their feelings?
Yeah, like, cause the lie is, I know the lie or whatever. I know the lie is going to. We're talking about like the big ones,
Hold
not
on, the
the.
tea is getting good.
We're not talking about like, oh, I lied about taking your car. Like
Right, we talking big lies.
you cheated, or you know what I'm saying. Like, you're having inappropriate relationships and you don't really know how to explain it. It's just who you try to blame it on just how we been. But it ain't like that. And you probably wasn't honest about this in the beginning of the relationship, but some things transfer within that, and you got caught. Now you got to be honest, but you don't know how to be honest. And I've been on that side where it's like, she know I'm lying. I know she know I'm lying, but because there's no evidence, I'm dying on the lie.
Oh, and that is diabolical.
I'm dying on the lie. Uh,
Lord.
Now I'm not that person anymore, right? Of course we've grown, we're deeper, we're better people, but these are some of my toxic times in life of relationships of learning, right? Then I've been in situations where we accepted each other, we accepted the toxic, we accepted the the nastiness in the relationship. Pause. Not like the intimate nasty, but just the
The
arguments were
ugliness.
cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that I felt like you love me because of it, type of stuff, right? And that version of me, I was fat, misbuilt, drinking, smoking, you know, uh, having sex a lot, way too much, way too much. You know what I mean? To a point that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not taking care of my responsibility. Now I'm just totally losing myself to accept this form of love. Um, but hey, we're not there now. But it was a time that I think I needed to learn from where like, I allowed somebody to weaponize my vulnerabilities. And then I weaponized theirs too. And with our weaponings combined, we had the best relationship, best toxic relationship ever. You
Best
know,
toxic relationship.
shout her out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Hope you're doing well. But
Period.
yeah, I don't know. I do think people are in a space now where they're more willing to accept a version of somebody that's easier to digest, that they don't have to be responsible for. I don't think people are willing to tell the truth because the consequences of it, and the fear of starting over. Sometimes the truth is going to force you to start over, and not everybody can deal with the truth. To be honest, like none of us. Like it's going to take some time. You know what I'm saying? Now, eventually, you're going to get better at telling your truth, but you know, uh, do people really want true honesty? I would say yes in the beginning. All right. If I had to give an answer to this question, I would say yes in the beginning. Let's get all this stuff out. Let's get the don'ts, the do's, the wills, the won'ts. You know what I mean? Let's get all that out the way. I think people want honesty there, right? But when you give honesty 5 months, 5 years in, and now you have, you got a side piece, or she can't quit messing with, baby daddy or whatever the case may be, right? Well, you could have told me this in the beginning, but the beginning, man, you might have to find somebody else. So I don't know. It's a case by case, to be honest, right? How about you? I mean, I don't know. What do you think is?
Yeah, I mean, but then sometimes then you have the flip side where you've been in a relationship for 5, 10, 20 years, and honesty just rolls out their mouth. Whether you
Mm.
like it or not. Just, hey, this is what it is. This is how we've been. We've always been honest with each other, and you're not gonna stop. If anything, it gets worse. You like, you know what? Sometimes you do not have to say all that, or you know what? Keep that to yourself.
Mm. You know,
So,
I'm kind of glad you brought that up, right? Because our next question for the day is, what is harder for you? Asking for help or admitting you need it all alone? What beliefs make that difficult for you? And have you ever struggled in silence longer than you had to?
all
Man,
right. That was, that's
listen,
that's tough.
I for sure,
That's
for sure. Some may say it's pride. I say it's integrity. You know what I mean? Get it out the mud, man. You know what I'm saying? Learn everything you need to learn. You know what I mean? So you ain't gotta do it again. For surely. For me, it would be asking for help. Asking for help would be a tough thing for me. Not because I can't, or I don't have nobody to, or I'm scared to. That's just not how we were raised. You know, we were taught to really go out here and get this shit out the mud. All of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, broke is a mentality. Poverty is a mentality. It's a mindset. We might have been in our environment, but it was structured in a whole different world. It was crazy. uh have I struggled in silence longer than I should? I ain't gonna lie. For sure I have. Now there's been times where, they might have offered too, and I was like, nah, I'm good. Knowing I could have used it, right? But I don't like to use those favors or those things unless I can't provide for myself. If I can get it done, it may take a little bit longer to get it. I'm going to take that route over asking for help. I feel like help should come when there's absolutely no other option. I need you. For me, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I've never really cared about admitting it. Like, nah, there's no fucking nothing to admit. As long as I got these legs and these arms and God bless me for another day and I'm healthy, we gonna go get to it, 100%. But asking for help, I suck at that shit. I'm sorry, y'all. Beliefs that I think that would make me feel that way would be just the way I was raised, just the way we grew up. Ain't nobody coming to help you. Ain't nobody coming to save you. We never looked at, you know, like, growing up, welfare and all that shit was a necessity. It wasn't. We didn't look at it as that way. It was like it was a part of life. That shit was. You know what I mean? But we use that and just flip it. And living by apartments young and seeing the hustle, seeing people selling whatever they got to sell, do whatever they got to do. Niggas fixing bikes, fixing cars. You know what I mean? Selling slushies, ice cream, man. You know what it is. Nigga with the corn, shout out the corn squad with the chips. You know what I'm saying? With the icy little joints. You know what I mean? I mean, watered down juice, but the icy was fire. Good times. Good times for sure, Um, and, you know, uh, if moms didn't have it, moms didn't have it. But she would show us and teach us different ways for us to go get it ourselves. Or life and the environment we were in would show us different ways to go get it ourselves. And that's what those beliefs and those things that were instilled in me is the reason why I not quick to ask for help unless it's like dire. It has to be like life threatening for me. I'm not just gonna ask for help because I can. How about you, Keith?
Yeah. If you were to ask my parents, like, hey, what one child of yours will not ask for help and will struggle in silence? They're going to say me. They're going to say me, no doubt. Because I don't ask for help. And it's so many times that my mom and dad have to remind me, like, hey, if you need anything, just, you can let us know. We're here. And I'd be like, okay. And I still want to ask. I don't know what it is, or, me struggling in the silence, just knowing that once I get past it, that I could do it. Maybe that's what it is.
Huh?
I don't know. We can call it pride or whatever we want to call it.
Pride?
But
I don't know.
or
That sounds like some
integrity,
will to
like you
me.
said, or will. But it's like, even though I will sit there and I will struggle in silence, I just know that I'm gonna come out of it. And knowing that I could have came out of it sooner using the help
Yeah.
than later. But I was like, but for me, it's like a reinforcement of you stronger than what you really think
Mm.
once you come out of this. So I think that's why I probably don't ask for help. And if I do ask you for help, you better show up to help. Because
You better show up. It's real
if
game.
you don't, I will never ask you again. I will never ask you again. So it's like sometimes I prefer to be let down by myself than to be let down by someone else.
Mm.
So
Now, is there a part of you that don't ask for help in the fear of somebody telling you no that you've helped?
um I don't think so. Because if I've helped someone, it's not for me to ask for help in return.
Mm.
Like if I help someone, it's genuine. I don't ask for anything in return. So even if I've helped you, I don't expect you to help me if I do ask for help. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask you for something that I know that you probably couldn't fulfill anyway. And that's probably why I don't ask, because
Mm.
chances of being let down is a higher probability than if I just do it myself.
Right.
But I never expected in return. Never
Mm.
expected in return. I just do it genuinely, just for me. So when I be sending people text message like, "Hey, don't ask no questions," don't ask no questions. I'm just doing it because I want to do it, and I won't ask you for that in return. I will never.
And I'm one of them. I'm the. I gotta know why. Why? What did I do?
Right,
How
right.
did I
Why?
do it?
Why did I get it?
Tell me.
Why did you
What?
do this for
You
me?
okay?
Like, you
Nigga,
don't need to just
something got to be
just
wrong.
and but that's just us as being humans and not being able to accept that people are genuinely doing stuff for you just because we've
Yeah.
been let down so many times. So
Mm.
for someone to do it, And you be like, oh, you don't want nothing in return? Like, what's wrong? Why? Why are you doing this for me? Like, all the questions come out because it's not something that you're used to having.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I want to, let me know what you guys think. Which one you choose. Do you suck at asking for help, or do you suck at admitting that you've been needing it the whole time? And you're not the person that hides it very well. Like niggas can see it's tough, but they also know you're not gonna ask, and they not gonna offer. So everybody fighting against each other is weird. But I pray that everybody has somebody they can call on. You know what I mean? If you don't, you know what I mean? I pray that God give you the ability to get out of that situation. You know what I mean? And master and use your vulnerabilities as weapons in the future. But I digress, right? Our next question for the day is has vulnerability ever made you look weak to others but strong within yourself? What did that experience teach you about strength? And did it change how you define what strength actually is? Hmm. I'm gonna always tell you, for me, it's being a bigger person. Um, I said it earlier that sometimes the best weapon is silence. Sometimes the best thing is being a bigger person, stepping away. Minding your business. You ain't always got to react to some shit. You know what I mean? And that takes some vulnerability to do. Like you may think it's for yourself, and you don't want to be disrespected and all these different things, but at the same time, like, who is it for? We die alone. We on borrowed time. We ain't taking none of this shit with us. And you get hit too hard, or you think you're going there with the game, and you know what I mean, a little 5 pounds of pressure to that jaw, sleepy time. We gotta be careful. I done seen the best of them get knocked out on a fluke. Oh, painful. But you know, being a bigger person for me has really helped me out with that, right? An experience that taught me about that. Well, that's kind of what defined my strength now and how I deal with things now moving forward. Because you know, I'm learning that it's okay to be vulnerable, right? It's not a bad thing for a man to be vulnerable. It's a bad thing to allow somebody to weaponize your vulnerabilities or put yourself in position where your vulnerabilities can be used against you. But it's totally fine to be vulnerable. Now, you got to find those spaces. You got to create that environment where you can have that vulnerability and that enjoyment, you know what I mean, or that community. You know what I'm saying? But you also got to make sure it's not connected to any vices, any sexual energy or compatibilities. Because that happened to your boy plenty of times. You know, gotta stay away from all that shit. You feel me? And I might have cracked the code on some of this shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Link in the bio. I should sell it. I should sell some of this shit. Make like some ebooks or something. But anyways, I digress. Being a bigger person helped me be stronger within myself and realize that strength isn't always something tangible. It's not always something that you have to physically do. Sometimes it's just having discernment and be able to separate yourself from situations that can harm you. You know what I'm saying? For me. How about you, Keith?
You know, to be completely honest, sometimes, I would be vulnerable and to an extent to see what you're gonna do with it.
So you be testing?
Yes. Just to see what you're gonna do with it.
Damn, that's foul.
And it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you this little clue of me, and I'm gonna see if you use it later on. You
Hmm.
use it later on, okay. But at the same time, I felt accomplished because nine times
Hmm.
out of 10, I already knew that you was gonna use it. But this was just proof for me that you really can't be trusted.
Hmm.
So I would never expose that. to you again or any more parts of me again.
Can't be
Um,
trusted.
can't be trusted. But yeah, being vulnerable has helped. Like I said, in different situations, especially in my job, being vulnerable has helped overcome a lot of challenges. Cases I was scared to do, I'm no longer scared to do. I had no clue about. Hey, now I'm the subject matter expert.
Yeah.
And that's how I become the subject matter expert by trial and error. Like, nope, that didn't work. Do not try that. And I will tell
Right.
people, I'm
Right.
like, don't do it. I'm like, I'm not telling you this because I read it somewhere. I'm telling you not to do this because I've already tried it. And this is going to be the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell people that when I tell them not to do something, I'm like, it's because I've done it and it's not going to work. And like, I remember one time it's this one doctor that I work with, who I don't like working with, but I do. And they would tell me, um, they would be like, how'd you get so good at knowing what he needs? And I told him, I said, it's because I have fucked up so many times in his cases that I had no option but to learn.
Yeah,
And
gotta
they
get
were
it
like,
right.
"What?" I'm like, "Yeah, we didn't went through all the scenarios that we go through. It's like I know exactly what he likes, what he doesn't like."
Mm-hmm.
Um, they were like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Yeah, so don't." I'm like, "This didn't come overnight, or I was just, I just knew what I was doing." I'm like, "No, these were growing pains. These were
Right. They
some
don't see the work;
trials
they
and
just see the end
errors."
result.
Right. I'm like, these were some trials and errors. I would walk in the room. He'd give me a look. I would give him a look. Like, he like, I don't want you to be in here. I'm like, and I don't want to be in here. Like, we had that
100%.
understanding. So, but now it's like he see me. He like, hey, Lakeisha. I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
remember,
We
but we
friends.
good now. No, we
Yeah,
ain't
we
friends,
cordial.
but right. I'll work with you on this case because you about to close and we about to be done with this case anyway. But
Right.
yeah. So I mean those challenges of being vulnerable in those moments did help me overcome a lot of challenges. So as far as being more confident in my skills and being comfortable pretty much in any case. Because I'm like, okay, at
Mm.
this point, if I can do this case, I can do any case. Now I feel
Mm.
invincible. So
I'm a survivor. I'll be survivor. My bad.
I said I was invincible. Invincible. Kind of
Yeah.
like what's the
Well, you got to do a
name?
lot of surviving to be invincible.
What's that drug
But you right.
kingpin name? Uh,
Well,
Nikki
I know what song you're
Barnes.
talking about. I don't know the name. I don't know. I just listen to it like that.
No, no, no. I'm talking about being like Nikki Barnes. I don't know if you,
Mm.
Mr. Untouchable. He was on the magazine. I don't know if you know who
Yeah,
Nikki Barnes is, but
I
if you're
do.
into like Bumpy Johnson, Nikki
Yeah,
Barnes,
I
Frank
know Nicky
Lucas,
Barnes.
yeah, you know what I'm talking
Hey,
about.
Godfather. I've been watching the Godfather Harlem right now, and it's delightful. I must say, I enjoy it a lot. Because I watched the first two seasons, but then I didn't know they had two more seasons. So I said,
Yeah,
let me just start from the beginning to catch up,
right.
so to get it
Yeah.
right. I agree. Listen, our last question for the day is: do we sometimes label people as too sensitive when they are actually just more emotionally honest?
Oh man, story of my life.
Mm. So, Keisha, have you been labeled too sensitive?
I have been labeled too sensitive. Like
What?
I think yes, yes. And then when I
Mm.
tell people I'm a Pisces, they're like, "Ah, you're really sensitive." Oh my gosh, I can't hear the end of that. Like just because I'm in tune more emotionally than others, I am
Yeah.
too sensitive. Like I'm not too sensitive. I'm just more vulnerable.
Mm.
Sheesh. But yeah, I've gotten told I was too sensitive about certain situations, especially the ones that bother me or that affect me the most,
Mm-hmm.
where my emotions were, you know, in jeopardy or I really felt some kind of way about it. And when I would go to tell them, they're like, "Oh, you're being too sensitive." Like, I'm just expressing you how you made me feel. But now
Mm.
I'm too sensitive. So now I'm being judged for expressing how I feel. But if I don't say nothing, then you're mad. Like, oh, well, why are you not saying anything? Because if I
Yeah.
say something, now I'm too sensitive. That's why I don't say
Yeah.
anything.
Hella
So
sensitive.
sometimes, sometimes I've gotten that, and then it's like, then I don't say anything. And then there's moments like when I don't say anything, sometimes my silence can mean I'm holding back from just letting you have it.
Mm.
So I'll just be quiet for the moment. Unless you put
Oh,
me
you
in
would
it.
definitely say that you're better at expressing yourself now, moving forward, correct?
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And
Slice and
like
dice
even
you.
now, yeah, you slice and dicing them, and you like it or you don't. Oh well, like as the older you get, the less you start to care about what everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
So like I said, like being vulnerable and doing this podcast is like people are gonna talk about you regardless. They were talking
Right.
about me before the podcast, they're gonna talk
Mm-hmm.
about me during the podcast, they're gonna talk about me after the podcast. So
Right.
why stop what you're doing just not to be talked about when they're gonna talk about you anyway?
Mm.
So
Talk your talk,
yeah.
queen. You know what I mean? The game is real. That's good food right there. That's good food.
Have you been labeled too sensitive?
Hell yeah. I've been labeled too sensitive. I've been labeled I'm sassy. You know what I'm
Sassy?
saying?
Oh
For
Lord.
sure.
That's the new derogative term for
Uh
men nowadays.
Story time. There was a time I was on my dating I was in my dating phase trying to get it right. And I asked this girl, she was like, I need my bills paid and rent and all this other stuff. And she had a bunch of requirements. So I said, okay, hypothetically, you know, if I give you what you're asking for, right? I provide that life for you. What do you bring to the table? And she said, that's a real sassy ass question to ask. It's like, oh shit, okay. So you can have all these requirements. And I can say I can grant them, but if I ask you, it's sassy for me asking them. I thought that was an interesting time, but we eventually figured it out. But yeah, I've been called too sensitive. I've been shit. I'm a Cancer. First off, I
Oh
know
yeah.
some of us don't believe in the
Yep,
signs,
you
but
you you
but
labeled too sensitive.
I am definitely sensitive about my shit. Shout out Erica Badu. For
She's a
sure.
Pisces, by the way.
True, but
I just
I
want to
get
make
her.
sure you're not trying to take claim to
Nah.
ours.
Pisces protected Pisces. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Facts.
I was sensitive about my shit for sure. But you know, it did I am very roundaboutish when I talk now. You know what I'm saying? Like I've gotten really good at, you know, shooting the small talk or making people feel comfortable enough where they think they're getting a truth out of me. But like I'm just making conversation, I'm creating some fluff. It doesn't feel like disingenuous. It doesn't feel like I'm not paying attention. Because when I do speak my mind, like they be shocked. And sometimes you don't want to deal with that, like and then I feel like there's times you should speak your mind. Not every time it's been for you to speak your mind, especially like I'll be in debates with people, somebody say some wow, and I just be like, the hip hop in me wants to argue them down and break it down, but the the fear of being or looked at as sensitive, not in that tense. Excuse me, I fucked up. I'm having two conversations with y'all at the same time. Let me run it back. As far as being sensitive with in relationships, right? The sassy shit, you know. That shit really me. I was sitting for days like, damn, I can't ask for what I want. I can't ask for like what you offer. Like I can't go to like imagine going to Popeyes and they be like, you can't ask what's on the menu. You can whatever we got is what we got. There's a big ass menu here. And you just want to know which ones you specialize in. And they're like, well, kind of why you asking for the
Chicken.
menu?
Because
You
they
know what I
said
mean?
you should have read the name when before you came in the store.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You
No,
should
I'm
have
not.
read the person before you knew what she brought to the table.
but I do
Now
know that I am
let's
more
be vulnerable.
yes, and I do know that I am more emotionally in tune than a lot of people. So, I have to be cautious with how I interact and how I speak. You know what I'm saying? And I would like to say I'm a I'm a I'm not a sensitive person, right? But I'm a passionate person, you know, and there's a thin line between passionate and sensitive. Trust me, I cross it all the time. But I'm learning, and as always, man, this is a journey, not a destination. You know what it is. You know what I'm saying? In conclusion, you know what I'm saying? In conclusion, with this, right? The raw, uncomfortable truth and transformation power of vulnerability, not as a concept, but as a lived experience. We dive into the early moments that shape how we view emotional openness, the fear of being seen, and the internal battles between protecting ourselves and expressing our truths. This conversation challenges the idea that vulnerability is weakness and instead reframes it as a form of courage, one that requires honesty, self awareness, and emotional risk. We also unpacked how vulnerability impacts relationships, healing, and identity. I'm sorry, y'all. I just read the description notes and we're probably going to use that later for something else. As we close this episode, I want y'all to sit with this. Vulnerability isn't about having the perfect words. It's about having the courage to say what's real, even when it's messy, even when it's incomplete, even when your voice shakes. It's not the absence of strength. It's a different kind of strength. It's a different kind of strength. You got to use some different muscles in this one, right? The kind that says, "This is who I am." This is the kind that chooses honesty over image. The kind that allows you to be seen while you're still figuring it out. And the truth is, you don't have to be fully healed to be worthy of connection. You don't have to have it all together to deserve love. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop hiding. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is. Uh, as you know, we got the word of the day and the quote of the day before I let my people go. Keish, as we closing out, anything you want to give the good people before I find this quote?
Yeah, you know, like a phoenix rise from the ashes. You rise in your truth and in your honesty. And don't let no one deter you from that. They're going to talk anyway, so let them talk.
That's the quote of the week right there, y'all. There we go. Look at Keith. Sounded like what? Come on now. No, I fuck with that heavy. No, that is beautiful. Today, the word of the week, right? Since we're talking about vulnerability. Um
But
the
not be
word of the week
vulnerability.
should be vulnerability, right?
I
Vulnerability.
knew it.
Right? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. The word of the day is um transformation. And for me, the reason why I made that for this week is the deeper you go in your vulnerabilities and find them and get a better understanding of how to deal with them and how to conquer them, the closer you get to the transformation of the person you want to become or the person you want to be. You know what I mean? That's super important while you're moving on in your life and while you learn these things. And remember, this is a journey, not a destination. So you're not gonna know everything, but you got time to learn it. You know what I'm saying? Just get it right the first time so you ain't gotta do it again. That's the motto. You feel me? And as always, I want to welcome everybody to Journey Not Destination. Thanks for having us. Big Keish, you know what it is. You know what time it is. The game is real. Until next time, keep showing up, keep being honest, and most importantly, keep being you. It's your boy.
Don't worry about me, I'm just turning over my leaf. And my last one is complete. You can stay, don't worry about me, I'm just turning over my leaf. Heat my deposit, I leave. It's complete, you can stay. Cause I'm turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. He's turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaves. I'm just turning over.